Jay Hendrix. I was just interviewed by KeithAndrewNetwork, and I think he's doing an amazing job with his learning disability, and his talk show was just really incredible, and it was great. So I hope you enjoy.
Gentlemen, you're watching the Keith Andrew Network. That is right, the one and only Keith Andrew Network, available on YouTube.com and Facebook.com. So make sure to like and subscribe today. Today on the Keith Andrew Network, we have upcoming professional actor Jay Hendrix. I just want to say thank you for being a guest on the show. It's a real honor and privilege. Looking forward to the interview. Plus, like with everyone on the show, you make a new friend out of it. That being said,
Hi, thanks, Keith.
No, the honor is all mine having you here. For people who want to know what my talk show is about, the whole point of my talk show is to show people that even with having a learning disability, I can still amount to something. And at the same time, I'm able to turn myself into an example for people out there dealing with any types of learning disabilities and disabilities, to never give up and prove people wrong. Prove to them that labels do not dictate who you are and who you're going to be. To prove to them you can still amount to something. So hashtag break the labels. So that being said, half hour of your time, PG, PG-13, uncensored, freedom of speech, self-expression, whatever you want to do, you're more than welcome to. And you did say, for all my new episodes, we're going to change up the format of the Keith Andrew Network.
Ooh.
And that every time we have a guest who has a special talent, the second half of the show, when we wrap up, I will pass the show over to the guest. And Jay actually has a special talent that he's going to perform for us on the second half of the show. Mm-hmm. But before we get to that, I'm going to ask you some easy questions, some hard-hitting ones. And the first one I'm going to ask you is, everything going on with the quarantine, how have you been, how have you been hanging in there?
Yeah, well, quarantine has been really interesting and a tough situation because obviously no one has really experienced something like this before. So you kind of have to do stuff as you go on because you don't really know what the future is going to hold. But acting-wise and stuff, during the summer and during quarantine, I actually have done 5 virtual Broadway intensive virtual class type things, and I have been really slammed every week. It's a new thing. And recently, actually on Saturday, from last Sunday to this Saturday that just finished, I was doing a program called Broadway Dreams. That was really fun, and it was a lot of work, but that's good. You got to keep on working, And on Saturday, we watched the show. It was at 7 p.m. You can watch it on the Broadway Dreams Facebook page, by the way. And so yeah, quarantine, it's just been a really interesting thing, and I've been practicing my singing, dancing, acting. You gotta just keep everything moving so you don't forget it, So yeah.
Absolutely. Now, the first question I want to ask you is, do you consider yourself an inspiration? Do you consider yourself, let's see, let me rephrase that. Well, the first thing, like I said, do you consider yourself an inspiration? Do you consider yourself a role model? If you walked into a room, when you go back to school and with your classmates, when people see you, are they starstruck, oh my God, that's Jay, he's on Broadway, he's doing this, he's doing that, or it's oh, what's up, Jay? And then let's go back to the normal thing. Do you have this, because by looking at you, you said you're a model, so I can see that, obviously, I'm not blind. But then again, I do wear glasses, so it's kind of like an oxymoron. But you have this energy about you, and that's what people like about me. It's because when you see somebody, you can feel the energy, you can see that they're legit, they're real, They're not phony. People say, oh, for an example, Bill Maher says people project this avatar. And you see an avatar, right?
Yes, I have.
Now, how you are right now, is this who you are, or when you're in the public? I know I asked you two questions, I do apologize. But let me ask you this one while we're on the subject. Who you are right now in this very moment. Is this who you really are, or are you just projecting your avatar? This is what you want people to see?
Yeah, so I'm going to answer your first question first about, walking into a room and my energy and stuff. So yeah, when I walk into a room, this is just kind of my normal energy. Like my mom says that I have this like good vibe to me. But who knows? But I am just like, even though I'm doing like acting and stuff, and like some people know who I am who maybe they've seen a show that I was in. I'm just a person, just like everyone else in this world. I am just a regular person who is pursuing their dreams, and that's really all I'm doing with this, just pursuing my dreams. And if you keep on pursuing your dreams, you will get to where you want to go. So yeah, but right now, this is just kind of how I normally am. I'm not really, this is just my energy, my vibe, so.
So you're not like putting a face on. This is not like an act or anything.
Well, I am an actor, but I'm not really acting right now. No, not really putting a face on, just smiling. Smiling.
No,
I'm a
absolutely.
smiling person.
The best way to get across with people, it's just being yourself and just being 100% real.
Yeah.
And the next question I want to ask you is, out of all the roles that you accomplished in your life, I'm just looking at the script, by the way. Usually I don't read a script, but sometimes I do. With all the roles that you accomplished, what were some of your favorite ones that you performed?
Well, let's see, out of some of the roles I've done, definitely two of my favorites are, in 2019, I had the honor, towards the beginning of the year, to be in a new musical at Goodspeed Opera House in East Haddam, Connecticut, called Because of Winn-Dixie, written by Nell Benjamin and Duncan Sheik, who wrote Legally Blonde and Mean Girls, and directed by John Rando. And I played Stevie Dewberry, who's the little boy, and that was probably one of my favorite roles because it was really unique. It was my first professional role, and to be my first professional role, it was actually unlike a lot of other normal roles, because most of the time with regional productions like that, the writer isn't really in the room, and neither is just the writer, Nell Benjamin. Normally they're not in the room, but since this was a new musical, every day they would write like new scripts, new lines, and so every day it was changing. So that was a unique role, and that's definitely up there in my favorite roles. And then number two, not only number two, but the second one that I'm saying is Flick in the Christmas Story National Tour. Towards the end of 2019, obviously near Christmas and stuff, I played Flick in A Christmas Story, and Flick is the one, if people have seen A Christmas Story, Flick is the one who gets his tongue stuck to the flagpole. So that was a really fun scene to do. But yeah, that was a really fun role, because with that role, there's like 11 other kids in the show. So I got to really like make new friends, like you were talking about earlier, and have fun with the other kids. So yeah, those were fun.
No, absolutely. Now, the next one I want to ask is, do you think honesty is the best policy?
Oh, yes. In this business, I've actually heard during Broadway Dreams, there was some master classes, and there was one question that somebody asked, like another kid asked this casting director who was teaching a master class, and the question was, do you ever think, has anyone ever lied to you about roles that they've done or about special skills and stuff? And the answer was interesting. It was like, she said, people probably have lied, I probably didn't notice, and they probably didn't get the role. That's what she said. And I definitely think honesty is the best policy in regular life and focusing on like showbiz and stuff. Because if you're not honest, like if I say, I'm a professional, like, baseball player, and they cast me because of that, and I don't know how to play baseball, obviously they're going to see that I lied. And that's not going to give me a very good reputation in the business. So yeah, you got to be honest, or else maybe something will happen that you don't want to happen.
No, I agree. And for a perfect example, I don't really do this anymore because I actually have my talk show. I have something to prove. But there was a long period of time where I was unemployed. And people are like, oh, well, what could you tell us about your last job? I haven't worked in, let's see, I got sick in '07. It took me a year to recover. Long story, stupidity on my part. So I actually didn't really have a job until 2000 and an actual job to 2013. And there's this big window of being unemployed. I'm like, well, I used to work for Toys R Us. They're out of business now. Now they're back. But at the time, we're like, oh, yeah, I was at Toys R Us and I was a former assistant manager and I did this. And I was just pulling it out of my ass because, you being unemployed for 4 or 5 years, they're going to look at you and say, you haven't worked in 5 years. Why should we hire? And this is the question I want to ask too. But they're like, you haven't worked in 5 years. You don't have any resumes. You don't have any recent experience. Why should we hire you? Now, for me, it doesn't matter if I work or not work because my talk show, I've been doing this for 7.5 years. Thanks to you, we're up to 705 episodes. So I have someone say, yeah, you know what? I haven't worked in retail, but I have 100 and something recommendations for you. And if you go to my website, KeithAndrewNetWork.com, you get to see all those recommendations. Back then, I didn't have anything. Mm-hmm. But the question I want to ask you is, say, for an example, and you don't have to work because I know you're still young and you're growing up, but for hypothetically sake, you stop working and people say, what have you been doing with yourself for 5 years and why should we hire you? Say, for an example, you went for an acting role. You wanted to work, like a normal job like your parents. What would you say to fill in, to make that person say, you know what? Yes, you haven't worked for 5 years, but there's something about you or something about what you said to say, you know what? I want to give you that chance.
Mm-hmm. So I think in this hypothetical, if I haven't worked for 5 years and I'm like going into an interview because I want to have like a normal job like my parents, like you said, you have to go in with thinking like what your expectations are is what you'll reach. Like what you expect is what you'll hit. So if I'm going in with the expectation that I'm going to show them who's boss and I'm going to show them why I should get the job, then probably I will get the job. But if I go in thinking, I'm just going in, but I'm not going to get it anyway because, it's been so long and whatever, you're probably not going to get it because the person the person who can offer you that job is going to see what you're thinking. They're going to see, like, does this person really want the job or are they just kind of, going through the motions? Like, so if you go in with the right mindset and you have a smile on your face and you're excited to like conquer this interview and conquer the job and like get it and you're confident, you will get it. You'll get there. So, yeah.
No, absolutely. And you do have the positive energy and positive vibe about you. So don't ever lose that. So that will take you places. Now, going back to your acting role, mm-hmm. and you mentioned you're on stage. So this is a question that actually kind of fits you. Think about a demanding, and you did mention this in the beginning. So it's kind of funny we should actually go back over this. Think about a demanding actor, professional, or castmate that you had to work with, and what made him or her difficult to work with.
Difficult to work with. You know, I'm not sure. If in the roles that I've done, I haven't really come across many people in the business who are like annoying or certain things like that. But maybe along my journey the past couple of years, there have been like some people. Some were actually, maybe one was an actor, maybe one was like someone else. But maybe they just didn't cast me. Like maybe they're a casting director, maybe they just didn't cast me. And if something like that happens, and it was like a role that like you think you should have gotten, like why did this other person got it? Because I should have gotten it. You just got to think. Now you've auditioned in front of this person, so now even though you didn't get the job, they are going to think of you for other roles because now they know who you are. So that's what you got to think in that scenario. But have I really? I don't think I've really come over anyone who's, I've had good people so far. So yeah.
Knock on wood. Now,
Yeah, knock on wood.
The next question I want to ask you is, who has inspired you and why?
Who has inspired me and why? So I think that one person that has inspired me, let's see. I think that maybe some person that has inspired me is some of the other kids that I've worked with that were some were older than me, some were my age, and maybe some were younger than me. But because of Winn-Dixie, Jamie Mann played my older brother in the show Dunlap Dewberry, and he was like 16 years old, and I was like 11 years old, and he definitely inspired me because he was an amazing dancer, first off, and that got me to keep working on my dance. And so he's inspired me in that way because I've seen how he's gotten to where he is, and now he's doing some amazing things. But another person that's inspired me is John Edwards. I also worked with John Edwards on Because of Winn-Dixie, and he has really inspired me because he actually, first of all, this is a bit unrelated, but he taught me how to solve the Rubik's Cube. So yeah, but he inspires me because he has done so many things, and he's so amazing. And since Because of Winn-Dixie, which was like in 2019, like I said, he has done so much and like booked all these roles. And he inspires me because he's just an amazing person. And like you kind of said about me and stuff, he has like a really positive vibe to him, and I look up to people like that. So he was, yeah, definitely. Mm-hmm.
No, absolutely. And while we're on the subject, you talking about John Edwards from Crossing Over.
No, I'm talking about John Edwards from when I did Because of Winn-Dixie. John Edwards, he played, I don't remember the name of the character, but he was just really amazing in the role that he played, and that was in Because of Winn-Dixie, which was in Connecticut. So.
All right, so we're not talking about this John Edwards while I'm crossing over and talking to dead people.
We're not talking about that one.
Now, here's the next one that you would like. Tell me about the proudest day of your life.
The proudest day for me in my life, the proudest day of my life. I think definitely up there in the proudest days of my life. Actually, two of these I'm about to say is first off, booking my first professional role, which was Because of Winn-Dixie, and seeing how amazing that was. And it was my first acting gig that I would do like in a different state that I couldn't just like drive 10 minutes to get there. So that was a really proud moment because it kind of showed myself like, wow, like it's not just me and like my parents, like other people who are actually in the business and work with professionals actually think that I'm, good too. So that was one of the proudest moments of my life because it showed me that. And another proud moment of my life, let's see, another proud moment of my life is when, well, also of course, so after I finished Because of Winn-Dixie, we went to New York and I auditioned for the Christmas Story national tour. And on our way back, we were on the auto train, and it's basically a train that takes cars with it. And that is when I got the call that I booked A Christmas Story, the national tour. And that was a proud moment of my life because I have auditioned for the Christmas Story tour twice. One was 2018, and one was 2019. And 2018, I got really close to booking it, but then I didn't get it. And 2019, when I actually got the callback and then the dance callback, and then I booked the role of Flick, that was a really proud moment because it showed that I actually put in work between 2018 and 2019, and that work actually led to something, which was booking the role, of course. So if you put in the work, you will get there. Yeah.
No, absolutely. Now we're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, I'm going to ask you about social media, if it can make you or break you, and then we're going to pass the show over to you.
Hi guys, my name is Kat Johnston.
This is Donna Drake.
This is Kayleen.
Hi, my name is Kara Svucek.
I'm Julia Brothers.
Jenna Curtis.
Hey, I'm Jenny Fine.
Hi, it's Mimi Chin.
Hi, my name is Ella Dorsch.
My name is Shauna Toft.
Hey guys, I'm Anastasia Edwards.
Hi, this is Jackie Nunez.
Actress Becky Hayes.
Hi, I'm Amelia Rose.
Hey there, I'm Saki Mieta.
Hi guys, I'm Alexandria Denise, and you're watching Keith Andrews' show.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Keith Andrews Network. This is 705. Here's a good buddy of mine, Jay Hendrix. Now, before we get to the special performance, right, everyone wants to say, first thing I want to ask you is social media. Can social media make you or break you with everything that you accomplished up to this point in life? Now, did you book an acting role because of, for an example, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn? Do these websites dictate if people should work with you? And what was the very first role that you booked?
All right, well, on the social media, I feel like it's different in every case, really. For me, it didn't really make me. I got my first role because I was, really into acting, and my parents signed me up for some things when I was little, and I just kept on doing it, and that's when I got my first role, which was Albert Blossom in Dr. Dolittle Jr. when I was 9 years old, and that was part of a theater camp program that I was in that. So for me, it didn't really make me, but it's definitely not broken me just yet. I hope social media never breaks me. But I don't think, for some people, like Justin Bieber, I don't know if you know this, but he got to start obviously on YouTube, and that's how he was discovered. Oh, my light just came unplugged, sorry. And breaking you, I think sometimes it can break you if, I know for some people who are really famous, they just posted something that just wasn't smart of them to do. If you post something that's just, you gotta think about what you post. When you get to a certain amount of followers, when a certain number of people are watching you and know who you are, you need to be careful about what you post, because it could break you if you post the wrong thing and say the wrong thing on your Instagram or LinkedIn or Facebook or Twitter or any of that. Yeah, so. Mm-hmm.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're just a couple of minutes away from our buddy Jay, who's going to do a special song, a special performance for the Keith Andrews Network.
Okay, here we go. I never made this world, I didn't even lose it, and I know no one said it was fair. But they had a garden once, they had the chance to choose it. They gave it away, including my share, and now we're lost in the wilderness, lost crying in the wilderness. And if anyone's watching, it seems they couldn't care less. We're lost in the wilderness. Don't you ever watch the eagle fly to the sun and wonder how we got to feel so free? If you ever have, you know your journey's begun. Hey, what have you got to lose, boy, when already we are I couldn't even guess, but off we go without a warning, running as we hit the ground, where our future lies a morning, where our hearts are outward bound, till one bright and distant morning we may stop and look around, and there in the wilderness, finally we'll be found.
No, that was great. Now
Thank you.
I actually do Broadway. Now I do have a couple questions for you off the air, but wrapping up our interview segment, how can people follow you on social media? Are you on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram?
Yeah, people can follow me on my Instagram account, which is at @JHendrixOfficial. My name right there, official. My name right there. That's what I meant. Yeah, official. And you can follow me there. I do posts like all about my regular, everyday life and acting, of course. So yeah, follow me on there if you want to, keep on seeing me.
No, absolutely.
Oh, yeah. So.
Now, the last question I want to ask you, wrapping up, when I first approached you to be a guest on my talk show, what was your honest first reaction? What made you say yes? And after being a guest, how do you feel now?
When you first asked me if I wanted to be on your talk show, first, this is a good lesson. I obviously looked at your Instagram account since that's how you contacted me, and I saw that you were doing a talk show and stuff, and that you had a learning disability, and KeithAndrewNetWork. After looking there, I decided that it would be good to do an interview with you because obviously you could keep doing more interviews on your talk show, and it'd be really fun to do the interview and stuff and answer some questions. So after doing the interview now, I'm definitely happy that I did the interview because it has been a lot of fun, and I'm excited to be season 8, episode 705. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Now, I do have a couple questions for you off the air, but wrapping up our interview segment, it was a real honor and privilege having you as a guest, and I'm looking forward to part 2 down the road.
Thank you.